Now, it's one of the world's great religions and arguably one of the least understood. Islam is now Europe's fastest growing faith, and as Johnny Nelson's been discovering, it's finding favour in some unusual places.
It's Friday prayers. For Muslims, it's the biggest day of the week. And amongst the worshippers at this mosque in Leeds are a growing number of white men who've converted to Islam. Paul Martin became a Muslim 4 years ago. It's been a spiritual and physical journey that's challenged the very core of relationships with friends and family.
This seems to be one of those very multicultural mosques that we find ourselves in.
I think you'll find a lot of converts here, and I think they tend to find it quite easy to settle here because there are so many different types of people that you don't actually have to be a certain group. It's sort of open to everybody. I think being white, nobody really puts white and Islam together. But I find here I can be the person I want to be. So, how are you?
But Paul's not the only convert at a mosque today. Dotted amongst the worshippers, there's a handful of other white faces. What is it that's grabbed your attention to want to be Muslim? Is it one common denominator, or is it something in particular?
The more I learned about it, the more just certain things they do grab you. You know, certain verses of the Quran, for example, which just seem to be describing the way that my experience of life of people, because the Quran talks about the state of people, the nature of people.
You know, you have no blood relation to any of these people in here, but it's almost as if, you know, they are your family, and if you ever needed anything, you could ring them, and in fact they'd be quite insulted if you didn't ask for their help.
This year's census will reveal the true number of white converts at a time when the Muslim world's relationship with the West remains strained.
Passengers have been talking about how they had to prevent a man from trying to blow up an American Airlines flight from Paris.
From the shoe bomber Richard Reed to the conflict in the Middle East, Islam is a religion in the spotlight. Its relationship with the West is bound with suspicion, where the voices of moderation struggle to be heard. It's taken us from the streets of New York and London to the war zones of Iraq and Afghanistan. So with all this going on, why are there so many white British men converting to a religion that seems to be demonised by most of the media? For Paul Martin, his conversion to Islam was a serious commitment. He's recently completed the Hajj, for many Muslims a once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage to Mecca. He may have been brought up a Catholic, but Paul now has a Muslim name, Suleiman, Arabic for man of peace. Not long after his return from Saudi Arabia, I've arranged to meet Paul at his home in North Leeds, and I'm keen to dig deeper about his life before Islam. Hello. Hi mate, hello. What about the things you've given up? What about before this life? What about the, you know, most guys who run out, going drinking or going out with their mates or have girlfriends or whatever? You know, what about all those things you've let go? Do you not think about those? Or?
I guess that's one of the hard things, because your social life, my social life, and their social life, there's quite a lot of conflict there, because what they do, I'm not necessarily allowed to do.
Would they know you're a Muslim unless, if they didn't ask you? Would anybody know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never walk in and, you know, make a statement. First thing I say is that I'm a Muslim, but I think they just think I'm a teetotal vegetarian, because obviously wherever I go that's not halal, I'll just have the vegetarian food, and they know I don't drink, I know I don't smoke, so I just think, oh, this guy's boring.
He's now taken most of his family with him, but there have been difficult moments.
We was in a restaurant in Manchester, and Paul went out, and I just said to somebody there, "Where's he gone?" And she said, "He's gone to pray." I said, "Where?" She said, "Well, he'll have gone round the corner." I said, "In the street?" I was so upset. I thought it was just too dangerous for words for somebody on their own to kneel down and pray in a side street. And I was really worried then. I started to panic a bit, really.
For those who studied the rise of the white male Muslim convert, dealing with family relations is only part of the picture.
Some people do think that Muslim converts are MI5 spies and are just pretending with their religion conversion. Or maybe not even as dramatic as that. Some people just think that they're only converting because they've met somebody who they fell in love with and they want to have a relationship with. So some people can discredit a conversion on those grounds and say, well, you're only a Muslim because you want to be with so-and-so, or you want to be married to so-and-so. So Muslim converts really have to prove their sincerity and their devotion to Islam before they are easily accepted by some Muslims.
We might be living in challenging times, but the conversion of white people to Islam is actually nothing new. William Abdullah Quilliam set up Britain's first mosque more than 100 years ago in Liverpool. There was a fresh wave of converts in the 50s and 60s when British women married immigrants from Pakistan, and in the 70s a post-hippie generation embraced Islam and the mystic religions of the East. But when Abdullah Hamza was growing up, white converts were few and far between. Brought up in a working class family in Bradford, until the age of 17, everyone knew him as Julian.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you. Afternoon prayers.
Afternoon prayers.
How often do you do outside?
As often as I can. Sometimes, you know, if I'm travelling and I'm getting off the train and it's prayer time, I'll pray outside the train station. You know, but I like to, it's nice to just be in the fresh air and pray, you know, it's something I've always liked. And I love praying in the snow. And it's snowy.
Why?
Well, because when your head goes in the snow, you know, it's slightly childlike.
I usually see him with the praying on the mat.
Yeah, I mean, a mat's just a mat, just so that it's clean. I mean, this is clean because it's just earth and rock and mud. So it's classed as clean in Islam.
Now a successful musician, he remembers his own conversion and the difficult times he's had.
I said to my mother, I said, look, I've been thinking about it, I want to become Muslim now. And she's like, well, calm down, lad, you know, it's not something you just rush into. And I was like, I'm not rushing into it. I've been thinking about it a long time, this is what I want to do.
He's been a Muslim for the past 20 years, but prejudice hasn't been too far away.
I've been accused of betraying my race, you know, and my culture, and, you know, and being called a terrorist and all that type of stuff, you know, the usual stuff really, even to the point of being called a white packet.
But the hardest times have come from within the religion that Abdullah has embraced.
In my experience, I've had more prejudice, more problems from Muslims than non-Muslims. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, because of my colour, because of my ethnicity, because I'm looked upon as a second-class Muslim, because I'm a convert. Suspicion, I've even been accused of being a CIA operative. You know, it's ridiculous stuff.
Back in Leeds, I'm catching up with Paul to see if he knows where his spiritual journey will take him. How will he balance his English middle-class background with his new Islamic faith?
I just think it's very important that these people who are converting to Islam really sort of try and keep their identity. I just want to try and keep hold of my roots because I was born and brought up in England, so I'm English. So why can't I be an English Muslim? You know, Islam's on the inside.